ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानं धर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्। जब जब सत्य और धर्म की हानि हो जाती है और अधर्म और असत्य की वृद्धि हो जाती है तथा पाप का साम्राज्य स्थापित हो जाता है, तब तब मैं अपने को प्रकट करता हूं। परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे। मेरे अवतार धारण करने के 3 कारण होते हैं। पहला, आतिताइयों द्वारा पीड़ित साधु पुरुषों का उद्धार करना। दूसरा, दुष्टों का नाश करना। और तीसरा कारण है धर्म की पुनः स्थापना करना।
Einstein summation convention. So, what is the definition of Einstein summation convention? So, we have the expression of the form, this thing means a1x1 plus a2x2 plus a3x3 plus up to so on anxn. So, in short form, in sigma sign, we can write here sigma I equal to 1 to n ai xi. Okay, so summation convention means if we drop sigma sign, okay, if we drop sigma sign, then we get only ai xi, means I equal to 1 to n ai xi ai xi. This is the summation convention, means this is the same value. So Einstein summation convention means we drop this sigma sign, so this value is equal to this. Okay, so this is same value, means by this convention ai xi equal to ai xi. In whole tensor calculus, if any indices repeated in an expression, then we use this sigma sign, and at that case we drop the sigma sign, so the value is same. Okay, means convention, summation convention, we mean that if a suffix occurs twice in a term, okay, then that suffix implies sum over the given range. Okay, generally range will be 1 to n, I is equal to 1 2 up to n. In other words, in 4-dimensional case we will use I equal to 1 2 3 4. This is in 4-dimensional case, 4D. Okay, in 4-dimensional case we will use I is equal to 1 2 3 4. Okay, so now what is dummy suffix? So dummy suffix means dummy suffix. So repeated suffix in any expression, repeated suffix in any expression is called dummy suffix. Okay, so in above case here I is repeated, so I is called dummy suffix. The very important property of dummy suffix is dummy suffix can be interchanged any other suffix. Okay, means AIXI equal to AJXJ equal to AKXK. Okay, so this is the important property of dummy suffix. Means you can write I equal to J or J equal to K, or as you like, any index you can put. Okay, so this is the dummy suffix. And other is free suffix or real suffix. So what is free suffix? So a suffix which is not dummy, means not repeated. So free suffix. So non-repeated index in any expression is called free suffix or free index or real index. Okay, so in any expression means AI, XI, AJ. Here J is called free suffix. Okay, here I is called dummy suffix. So this is the real suffix and free suffix are. Okay, now superscript and subscript. Okay, so this is very important thing in whole tensor analysis. So what is superscript? So in a quantity, Aij, I is called superscript. I is called superscript and J is called subscript. Okay, means this is any symbol, here upper and here lower. Okay, so this index is called superscript and this is called subscript. So I is called superscript or super index, subscript or sub index. So we shall frequently use if any index in super, so this is used in contravariant. Okay, and this will use in covariant. If any quantity have superscript and subscript, then we call mixed. Okay, so this is important for superscript and subscript. So in upper index and lower index we remember, because this is very useful in whole study of Riemann geometry and tensor calculus. Space of n dimensions. Okay, so I am going to start from 1 dimension, then 2 dimension and 3 dimension up to n dimensions. Okay, so we have, this is point. Okay, so point is 0 dimension. What is dimension of point? So 0 dimension. Now any straight line which is 1 dimension, this is 1 dimension. Okay, so in 1 dimension any point we write here x. This is a real line. Real line means number started from minus infinity to plus infinity. So this is called real line. Okay, and real line is an 1 dimensional space. Now next 2 dimensional. So 2 dimensional space means this is 2 dimensional space, means OX, OY. So in any point P in 2 dimensional space we write X, Y. Okay, so in 1 dimensional any point we write X, 2 dimensional X, Y, and in similarly in 3 dimensional space we write OX, OY, OZ, means x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So this is three-dimensional. So any point P in three-dimensional space x, y, z. So we see carefully in one-dimensional x, two-dimensional x, y, three-dimensional x, y, z. So I want to explain in n-dimensional space. Okay. So there is a problem of representation because we have only 26 alphabets. Okay. For one dimension, one alphabet, two-dimensional, two, three-dimensional, x, y, z. So for n-dimensional space, we need n indices or n suffix or n index, but we have here only 26 alphabet, so there is a problem. Okay, so we will use the following notation. So for one dimensional space, we will use in place of x should be x1. Okay, in place of x is x1. In place of xy will x1, x2. Okay, and in place of xyz x1, x2, x3. So this is very easy to explain in n-dimensional space. So in n-dimensional space, any point P can be written as x1, x2, x3 up to xn. Okay, so this is the notation. So please remember, this is not x square, not x cube, because x square is equal to x into x, x cube is equal to x into x into x. But here this is only notation. This is the notation for n-dimensional space. So now transformation of coordinates. Okay, so as we know, in high school classes we have studied Cartesian coordinate and polar coordinate in two-dimensional space. Okay, so let us suppose this is first frame of reference and this is second frame of reference. Okay, so in two-dimensional space, if we take Cartesian coordinates, okay, and second is polar coordinate. So we have in two-dimensional space any point P is x, y. Okay, so this is P and this is x, y, means this is y and this is x. And similarly in polar coordinate, this is pole, this is initial line, and if point P is here, so coordinate of P's are theta. Okay, and this is r and this is angle theta. Okay, so this is very easy to explain because we have studied many times. In two-dimensional space, Cartesian coordinate means xy, polar coordinate means r theta. Okay, so this is ox means abscissa and this is ordinate y, and here this origin is called pole and this is initial line. This theta is called vectorial angle and this is radius vector. Okay, so what is the relation between Cartesian and polar coordinate, points between Cartesian and polar coordinate? So if we put this thing here, so we get okay, and this is theta. So based upon hypotenuse x upon r, this is r is equal to cos theta, and perpendicular upon hypotenuse is equal to sin theta. Okay, so this is very good result, means x is equal to r cos theta and y is equal to r sin theta. Okay, so here xy, these are Cartesian coordinate, yani xy, this is function of r and theta, r sin theta. Okay, and similarly if we study three-dimensional space, so here in place of xy will be xyz and here r theta phi. Okay, and similarly x will be function of r theta phi, y function of r theta phi, and phi is also, because in two-dimensional space xy is equal to r cos theta, y r sin theta. Okay, so here x is a function of r theta and y is also function of r theta. Similarly here it is very easy to explain. R is equal to x square plus y square, r is equal to x square plus y square, and theta is equal to tan inverse y upon x. Okay, so here r is function of r of xy and theta is function of theta xy. Okay, so if we generalized for n-dimensional space, so first we will explain two-dimensional, three-dimensional space and generally n-dimensional space. Okay, so as before we have used for tensor calculus or Riemann geometry, in place of x, y will be x1, x2. Okay, so in two frame of references, here we will use xy means x1, x2. Okay, and in place of r theta, so r theta is nothing but x bar 1, x bar 2. So you remember that r is nothing but x bar 1. This is only notation. Theta is nothing but x bar 2. So for the suitable concept for n-dimensional space, this can be generalized x1, x2 up to xn, and in another frame of reference we shall use x bar 1, x bar 2 up to x bar n. Okay, so here x1 is a function of x bar 1, x bar 2. Okay, and x2 is a function of x bar 1, x bar 2. Okay, similarly here x bar 1 is a function of x1, x2, and x bar 2 is a function of x bar 1, x1 and x2. Okay, so this is very easy because we have x is function of r theta, y is function of r theta, so x1 is function of x bar 1, x bar 2, and x2 is function of x bar 1, x bar 2, and similarly vice versa. R is function of x and y, theta is function of x and y, so r is nothing but x bar 1, so x bar 1 is function of x1, x2, x bar 2 is function of x1, x2. Means if we take two frame of references, one is Cartesian and other is polar, and we have explained for two-dimensional space. So first we used two-dimensional and then we generalized for n-dimensional space. Okay, so now as we remember, we have in UG classes, if u is a function of x and y, so by definition of total differentiation du equal to del u upon del x dx plus del u upon del y dy. Okay, and if u is a function of x, y, z, then one term will add. And similarly, if u is a function of x1, x2, x3, xn, so we generalized, means if u is a function of x1, x2 up to xn, so we have by the total differentiation del u by du equal to del u upon del x1 dx1 plus del u upon del x2 dx2 plus up to del u upon del xn dxn. Okay, so in the same fashion we will use in two frame of reference. One is n dimension means Vn and other is Vn bar. Okay, so I am going to explain from two-dimensional space and then extend for n-dimensional space. Okay, so in two-dimensional space, as we have x1 is function of x bar 1, x bar 2, okay, and x2 is function of x bar 1, x bar 2. So as this definition, dx1 is equal to del x1 upon del x bar 1 dx bar 1 plus del x1 upon del x bar 2 dx bar 2. Okay, so if we generalized x1 is function of x bar 1, x bar 2 up to x bar n, because we have in n-dimensional space any point can be written as x1, x2 up to xn. In n-dimensional space any point can be written as x1, x2 up to xn. Okay, and in another frame of reference x bar 1, x bar 2, x bar n. Okay, so as we have studied in two-dimensional space, so we generalized for n dimension. So x1 is a function of x bar 1, x bar 2, x bar n, x2 is a function of x bar 1, x bar 2, x bar n, and xn is a function of all the indices. Okay, and vice versa, means x bar 1 is function of x1, x2, xn, and similarly x bar n function of x1, x2, xn. Okay, so how we explain? So in two-dimensional space we have dx1 is equal to this thing. Okay, so in n-dimensional space we will write dx1 is equal to, means x1 is a function of x bar 1, x bar 2, x bar n. So by the same definition, dx1 is equal to del x1 upon del x bar 1 dx bar 1. Okay, plus del x1 upon del x bar 2 dx bar 2 plus up to del x1 upon del x bar n dx bar n. Okay, so now here by summation rule we have this can be written as, because here 1 is fixed, okay, but here 1, 2, 3 in bar quantity, this is run from, this is 1, 2, 3 up to 1. So we can write here del x1 upon del x bar I dx bar I. This is very important result. Okay, means I is equal to 1 to n. So dx1 is equal to del x1 upon del x bar I dx bar I equal to 1 to n. Okay, now by Einstein summation convention we drop the sigma sign, means this is equal to, because we have studied before, means this is equal to del x1 upon del x bar I dx bar I. Okay, by Einstein summation convention, Einstein summation convention. Okay, if we drop sigma sign, then value will unchanged. And similarly, since here x bar 1 is function of x1 x2 xn, so we can write in the same fashion here dx bar 1 is equal to del x bar 1 upon del x1 dx1 plus del x bar 1 upon del x2 dx2 plus to show on del x bar 1 upon del xn dxn. Okay, so equal to by summation rule I equal to 1 to n del x bar 1 upon del xi dxi. Okay, again we use Einstein summation convention, so we drop sigma sign. Okay, so this equal to del x bar 1 upon del xi dxi. So this is very important to further study. Okay.